what God has revealed to me in spirit is that the people you were dealing with, the manipulators, the narcissists, they only receive love in the form of attention. They associate attention with love, and you are a person who is the opposite of that. We know God is of love. First John chapter 4 verses 7, I believe, or 11, one of those. For God is love, so we ought to love one another. God is the essentially John 4, the whole chapter talks about how God is love. God is the literal epitome of love, and love to these people that you may have been dealing with is equated to attention, right? And so this is because a lot of times manipulators want to make known to other people that they are, I always say the HNIC, whether you're a woman or a man, right? And it comes from a place of pride and humility. And with that being said, they put their own selves on a pedestal, and attention, in a sense, they crave attention in a sense to where they want to be praised. And you are a person who actually don't really ask for, you don't seek external validation. The validation that you receive is internal validation. And to be honest, internal validation is something that most people lack, right? They need validation from other people in order to feel validated. But you move to the sound of your own drums, which is why it caused that conflict with these said individuals. You stay true to yourself for the most of it, and because you're a person who doesn't like to play games, because you're a person who doesn't bend to other people's will or to the sound of their drums, you move to the sound of your drums as compared to theirs. That's why there was this conflict, this clash, because when this person met you, I always say, and y'all know this, people meet you, it always starts off as admiration, but then that quickly turns into envy, right? And so this person had envious energy. They were jealous of the abundant energy that you have. You have energy of abundance, right? Maybe like abundance, maybe energy wise, like I already said, maybe materialized, maybe materials financially, maybe you were abundant in that. And these manipulators really only, because I take it, you're not, if any of you're dealing with this, I pray God get you out of that situation. But if you have already dealt with this situation, he have shown me that essentially, um, this all happened in a dream, and it's coming forth. I'm losing my train of thought here. Okay, the clarity that God has given me is that this abundant energy that you have, they hated the fact that you had it. They hated it. That's why they were jealous. That's why they were envious, right? They wanted that abundance energy for themselves, but they didn't want you to have it. And essentially, that's why they put you through the hell that you had went through. That's why you had experienced all that you had experienced, because of the matter that they didn't want you being great. And when it comes to narcissists, when it comes to manipulators, they want to be sure that they are on top, as I already mentioned, right? They want to be sure that they are the ones who are in charge. They want to be sure that they are the ones who are made known to the masses, right? And you don't care about attention. You don't care about any of that. You like to be in the cut, all right? You don't like attention as much as you attract it. And the very effect, and that goes hand in hand, coincides with what I already said, you have abundant energy, and it's like a magnetism, right? And so they want that for themselves, but they don't have the light that dwells within like you do, right? They have, every person has the light, have their own light. But again, envious people are envious because they don't want to put the work in thereof to even have it, right? And you've probably been a light worker all your life. It's in you, not on you, right? The light that dwells within is in us, not on us. Therefore, it cannot be replicated. And as long as they try to replicate the mask that they wear, that they get from us, because again, these people steal your energy, they drain you dry, right? And clothe it on for them for it to be themselves. But it don't cost nothing to be yourself. Unlike them who tries to put on this persona, your persona, it's gonna get tiring. Try to be upbeat. Maybe when you first meet these folks, they try to be upbeat. And this is what narcissists do. First of all, they always like the love bomb, right? They show that they care. They show that it's a positive person. And all in one day, all of that gets flipped on its head, and it's dark. They're all dark. They're all negative. Always moody. Always irritated by you because of the simple fact of the matter, they can't mask them demons for too long. Your light simply irritates their demons. And again, this all roots back to the simple fact that they associate love with attention. You're not a person who really plays by those rules, right? They're so used to having their way. They were so used to just having just things falling into their hands. But you were probably their first obstacle, right? You're very hyper aware, right? You're very self-aware. Maybe you are a person with ADD like myself. I like to say, and I had just mentioned this in a video like last week, like I feel like ADD and ADHD and all that good stuff is really how God designed us, but the government puts us on medicine like Adderall, Strattera, or Vyvanse, like and try to suppress us butterfly children, as I like to say. Go back and watch that video about the ADD thing that I made. You'll get the reference. But I'm not gonna go too deep into it. I already talked about it. But the correlation that needs to be studied. The correlation that I basically said people with ADHD or neurodivergence in general tend to seem to be more spiritually inclined and in tune and have like spiritual abilities, and it kind of coincides to what people say about chosen ones, and the abilities that they have and whatnot, and just discernment and intuitive nature and whatnot. Okay, go back and watch it. But all I'm saying is simply you don't act like everybody else, right? You're different. And that's why that was really just you being different alone was really the catalyst to why these manipulators did all that they did. The mask slipped. It's only so long they can have the mask up until they get tired, grow weary. Okay? God said in Galatians 6:9, don't grow weary in doing good, for in due season you will reap if you faint not. But they fainted because it's all the act. It's not truly the condition of their heart. If their heart was postured right, they wouldn't have to worry about even feeling drained, putting on your persona to make it seem like they're this wonderful and lovable person, and they are lovable to those who are blind, because manipulators know, and you, again, with you being maybe a neurodivergent, just being spiritually in tune, okay, you see right through the act. And it's crazy thing about narcissists and like manipulators, they know that you know that they're all the tactics and stuff that they do, but their biggest fear is letting their hand being revealed. But you didn't really say a thing. You didn't really say a thing, right? And you're afraid they're gonna name drop or something like that and just let it be known to those. You're not that type of person. The way they drag your name through the mud, you wouldn't think twice to even do so. But it's because, again, their love equates to attention, is why they had to do what they do. Because it's like, again, since they put themselves on the pedestal, like, who do you think that you are? Let me teach you a lesson. Your name about to be dragged through the mud. But that very reason, that very season that you went through, with you going through hell and a shadow being casted over who you really are, that dissonance, right, that you suffered through, be grateful. Paul said he took joy. He was grateful for his afflictions. Again, I don't remember the verse, but he took much joy in his afflictions, because a lot of times your afflictions is what makes you into the person that you need to be, that God wants you to be. You have to go through seasons in order to grow and become this godly warrior. Growth comes about pain. Turn your pain into praise, okay? But just to wrap it all up, you, again, their love equates to attention. And you don't do that. It's not you. You don't like playing the games, long games. Be upfront about it. Okay, if you want somebody, just be upfront about it. Don't play no games. You don't move off of innuendos and assumptions and all that good stuff. Talking in code. No, just be upfront about it. Cause it ain't said to you directly. It ain't gonna click. It ain't gonna register. Okay. You don't have no time guessing, and if you guess wrong, well, oh, you about to be dragged. You about to be dragged, and that's why you don't do such. Be an adult and effectively communicate as such. Okay. I'm speaking for you. I'm speaking for you on the other side of the screen. You understand what I'm talking about. People make it so difficult. Just be authentic. Say what you mean what you say. And you're a person who does. And that's why they're not used to it, because they're so used to beating around the bush and insinuations. People talk in insinuations, while we talk with intent. We mean what we say. Don't have time guessing. Don't have time. Do they mean that? Do they mean this? And because of your overthinking nature, it's a struggle trying to navigate through this world, because we live in a world where people talk in insinuations. But no, you're so direct. But it's unrealistic to actually think that we got to stop projecting ourselves onto other people and expect people to be the same way that we are, because everybody's created differently. But where the world is predominantly the same and programmed to talk as such, and you're non-conformist, it can be a little bit difficult. But I'm just yapping at this point. But as always, I'll wrap it up. I love y'all. God bless. And remember, it's impact over influence, baby.